Max Verstappen clinched his second Formula 1 World Championship by winning Sunday's Japanese Grand Prix, but just like his first crown in Abu Dhabi last year, this was not without controversy and confusion. The red flag delays for heavy rain meant we only got 28 laps of racing action at Suzuka before the 3-hour time limit expired. This equals 52.8% of the planned distance, an important number to keep in mind later on. We've always come to think that if races reach less than 75% of their planned distance, then a reduced number of points would automatically kick in, right? There were changes to the rules relating to reduced race distances and the points awarded after last year's farcical 2-lap Belgian Grand Prix. Don't take me back. But these tweaks have actually now caused some unintended consequences. So how does it work that Verstappen got full points for his win and is world champion despite barely reaching half distance in the Japanese Grand Prix? Verstappen took the checkered flag after 28 laps to score his 12th win of the season, leading home Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez. The celebrations over the radio between Verstappen and Red Bull team boss Christian Horner were low-key. That's because pretty much everybody, Verstappen and Red Bull included, did not expect full points to be awarded. Article 6.5 of the sporting regulations says that if a race is suspended and cannot be resumed, and it reaches between 50 and 75% distance, then the winner will get 19 points, 14 for second, and 12 for third. Given the 52.8% we mentioned earlier, surely that falls within this criteria. Most people thought this was the points tally at the checkered flag, meaning that even once Leclerc received his 5-second time penalty, Verstappen would still be a point shy of the championship. Ahead of the weekend, he needed to gain 6 points on Leclerc and 8 on Perez. With 19 points for a win, he would only have gained 5 on Leclerc and 7 on Perez, putting him 1 short of the title. So that meant when Johnny Herbert recalled Verstappen for an interview in Parc Fermé and then congratulated him on winning the championship, there was a huge amount of confusion. Was this a massive mistake by Formula 1? Accidentally crowning a champion? In fact, no, it was totally in line with the FIA's rulebook. Let's go back to Article 6.5. There are 3 columns for different race distances and the points to be awarded, but all of these relate to an event where if a race is suspended and cannot be resumed. But because the Japanese Grand Prix did resume and was only timed out by the 3-hour time limit, these rules do not apply. It means no matter how few laps were completed, so long as the race could be resumed and was timed out, then full points would be awarded. So with the usual 25 points for a win, it meant Verstappen pulled 7 points clear of Perez and 10 ahead of Leclerc, meaning his points lead was enough. Verstappen was a 2-time F1 world champion. Max admitted after the race that even he was confused by what had happened. After celebrating with his mechanics following his interview, he then got to the cool-down room where a special throne reserved for a world champion was laid out for him. But he could be heard saying, "Are you sure?" clearly uncertain. It was left to the FIA media delegate to tell him he was in fact world champion. Verstappen saw the funny side, thankfully. He said afterwards that he was just focused on winning the race and he didn't pay too much attention to the point situation while out on track. "I don't mind that it was a little bit confusing," said Verstappen. "I actually find it quite funny." It might have been funny, but it did nevertheless make for one of the weirdest ways an F1 championship has been sealed, as well as confusing the drivers, teams, and importantly, the fans. It's no surprise that teams are already talking about tidying up the rules to ensure this doesn't happen again. Even Verstappen's team boss, Christian Horner, called the rule a mistake, resulting from the post-Spa 2021 adjustments that he expected to be resolved in the future. Andrea Seidel of McLaren and Ferrari's Mattia Binotto also acknowledged it was never the intention to have full points still awarded in situations like this. While there may be frustration towards the FIA over the handling of Sunday's race at Suzuka, particularly when it comes to a tractor being on track and driver safety, in this case, it actually followed its own rules to the letter, even if it has exposed a big loophole. It's a quirk of the rules that will probably change for the future, but for now, nothing can take the shine of Verstappen's second championship win. With 12 wins, 5 poles and a mammoth points lead, no one can argue he has not deserved his title, even if he won it without even realising.